We're going to dive into some work after Brian speaks. Please welcome Brian. You want to come on up? Tonight, Brian's going to be talking about copywriting and social media, so good copywriting, great copywriting. And he's a full-time freelance copywriter and a great ideas guy. We get together at the Cup pretty often and chat about what's new and what's happening in the social media space. We have currently have a little thing going called Get Creative, and you want to tell them about it?
It's a hashtag. You guys can visit search.twitter.com, Get Creative. I could even pull it up here. Just Gwen and I and some other folks wrote some blog posts about creativity, what gets us going, maybe tools and techniques of what gets you going. Just sort of starting a sort of a free-form conversation about creativity. And so we all just tagged our posts in the title. It's not working. We tagged it, and then on Twitter we said this is the post I just wrote, and tagged it with hashtag Get Creative. So you can basically search at twitter.com on Get Creative, and you see all the conversation. Not only people linking to their blog posts, but people responding back and forth to blog posts. So it's sort of an evolution of the idea of a guest post on a blog. I don't know if you guys do that, but it's a real good thing to do. You get a backlink for SEO, you get a backlink for traffic, get your name out there. So it's just a little easier way to do guest posts rather than having the traditional. So if you guys are interested, we not good on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and write your post about creativity. What you're thinking about creativity, post it up and promote it on Twitter, and then everyone in the Get Creative hashtag is sort of in the community, so everyone helps promote each other. So if you write one, the backlink goes up on my blog and Gwen's blog and stuff like that. Just press play down at the bottom, or full screen maybe. And that should be good to go. And then I could just click on it. So yeah, that's good enough. So it's the first time with a new program. We had a little difficulty, but that should be good. All right, let's get going. Copywriting and social media. So this is the idea. My name is Brian. I go by Brian L. Burns. It's brianlburns.com, Brian L. Burns on Twitter. But Brian, pretty much to you guys. I'm a full-time freelance copywriter in the area. Basically means I hire myself out on a per job or per month basis to companies looking to improve their communication. Oftentimes it's startups, mostly just because that's sort of my style. But a lot of them are noticing a lot of the importance of the things we talk about in this class. So it's not about just putting products out there and making direct sales. It's about communicating with customers, building community, building your brand, paying attention to build your brand, whether it's a personal brand or a company brand. So that's sort of what I work a little bit on. Not a lot of copywriters do, but sort of a community, small business, communication focus, which sort of fits here, which is sort of why I'm here. Sort of why Gwen brought me in. So let's talk a little bit about copywriting. It's an important part of social media, an important part of running a business or running a personal brand like we talk about in here, like Gwen's talked about. Its importance, I once had a professor tell me that writing isn't just something you have to do. Writing is everything. That in business or your personal brand, that's more or less, especially in the internet age, it's all the communication you're going to have. It's not just important to write well, it's everything. It's your entire brand online. That whether you're tweeting, whether you're writing a blog, whether you're writing your website, newsletters, emails, doing customer service over email, doing customer service pretty much anywhere but a storefront. I know we have Sydney's in here. Obviously your brand is a lot face-to-face, but for coffee shops like the Cup Bowl, they're a lot face-to-face. But for a large part of businesses and personal brands in the internet age, and especially on social media, which is almost done completely on the internet these days, writing is everything. A point about writing, humility. It's not really everything. It sounds cool, but this is my funny way of saying, being a little self-deprecating and saying that it's not completely everything. I want to emphasize writing is super important, but obviously you got to do stuff like design, you got to do some other stuff. So importance, but don't take them too seriously. Talk about some of the uses of copywriting, what you're using it for. I mentioned them all, but to go over them again, your website, it's about who you are. People are going to show up. They want to see your products, but they also want to see where the products come from, what they do, how they can help you, who produced them, how they were produced. If you're selling services, kind of same deal. What service do you provide? What's the ROI? How do they all work? What's that?
What is ROI?
Sorry, return on investment. It's I don't know. I guess sort of a buzz phrase. People like saying it. I don't know. It doesn't really shorten it all that much, but it's a way of saying what ROI means. So sorry to use it. I dislike it in general, but it's become so commonplace. So blogs, which is kind of the standard. I know you guys talked a lot about it, especially for someone like Sydney. But your blogging is just a little bit more personal website. I run my entire website out of a blog. So they're obviously sometimes taking the place, but sort of everything you do is in writing. You're writing a blog about who you are, who your company is, what you're doing that week or whatever. So newsletters and email marketing, which I don't think we're doing as much here. I tend to think that's sort of old marketing but evolving. So there's certainly I would say a place for it. Newsletters probably more than email marketing are updating, but I think email marketing will get there. I'm doing some stuff for a client now. So I think there's some good stuff, but that's obviously writing. Those are a little more direct. You really have a purpose when you do that. But definitely writing. This is one that often gets overlooked, but I think is almost just as important, correspondence and customer service. You have a great website that people get really psyched about. You get them so psyched, actually, that they want to talk to you, they want to come to you, and all of a sudden you have someone answering the email that can't write. So you have such a great brand that's building, and I'll talk about it a little later, but you want your brand to build over time. You don't want it to give everyone everything all at once. So you're sort of building, you're building your brand, and you finally get them to contact with you, which is great. Having one-on-one interaction, and all of a sudden the correspondence isn't there. The letter is jumbled, they don't get what they want, or it's communicated in a way that doesn't really fit your brand. So this is important, sort of important use of copywriting and customer service, sort of going along with that. Some is done over the phone, but a lot's done over email these days. Even stuff like your social media profiles and your tweets, but even stuff like on Facebook, as simple as status messages and tweets, or as bigger as sort of your profile about who you are and what you do, and subscribing to sites, telling other people about the sites. Most of it, you're just doing it in writing. So not everything, but very, very important, especially as you're monitoring your own brand. And your business brand, whichever you guys are doing. So obviously there's a lot to cover in writing, so I figured we'd sort of hone in on one thing. Thought that about pages are not only representative about a lot of the writing we do, and that you have to do for your brand, but fun to talk about, and sort of fun to look at basically a case study of what some good copywriting might look like and how you can improve your skills and do it well. I think it's real attainable for nearly everyone to do. Obviously, professionals, they have a little bit of a leg up, but I think it's sort of universally acceptable for people to write some really good stuff. So let's jump into about pages a little bit for the first maybe next 10 minutes or so. We'll do a little bit of an example, have you guys try out an about page, and maybe talk about some stuff like that. So real quickly, to me, an about page succinctly states who you are and what you do. Seldom more, sometimes, and never less, sometimes. But granted, these are the two big points to me. When I sit down and I write, and I'm focusing on what I want to write, especially with about pages, it's always who I am, what do I do for a company. It's what do I do, what products, what services, who we are, how do we provide those services, even how are we funded, especially for a small business, a coffee shop, a personal brand. Personal brand, obviously, it's about you. It's not just about your services you provide on Twitter. It's about who provides them, how you provide them, where you're coming from, how you founded the company or how you started the Twitter account, something like that. Who you are, what you do. Couple examples real quickly for a blog or a website, but more or less who I am and what I do.